Hey, hey, everybody. Good evening. Very dry throat this evening. I won't say why, but I realized the last two streams, the last two hangouts, company hangouts, uh, we'll let people come over here first, and then we'll critique the last couple of shows. This one's going to be very open. You can ask whatever you want, and we're going to hit a lot of different topics. All right, so get the numbers up. I'll be right back. Hey, look at this. Numbers going up. Share away. Let's get to real Saturday night numbers. And then we can hit all these topics that you guys are desperate to talk about, I'm sure. I just put a link to my email list in the troll box. If you want to add your email address for free, that's where to do it. Got 4,000 people over there. Fancy says it's surreal to be watching Seaman again, literally depersoned. Glad to see you back. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a great ride since January, and we were able to upload videos on every topic of unfinished business that people had wanted to hear from me from, people had wanted to hear from me regarding, and I sort of lost a little bit of motivation for this channel because I have a personal life, and it's certainly not as exciting. Not as exciting to come back to something after it was taken away for 8 years. I kind of moved on with life, right? So I'm getting back into the swing of things, but it's been fantastic to see that gradually since January, every single topic that people wanted me to provide some kind of finality for, we've been able to do. If you go through the most popular videos, you'll see what I'm talking about. And yeah, so just the self critique. I thought the last couple of live streams, I shared a lot of info with you all, but it was a little stiff, a little cold, uh, and self congratulatory. I don't have a problem with, but a little cold in my delivery. That's because I didn't want to risk, drinking or touching the plant and having people say, "Look at this loser. Look at this wine blogger back after many years." But ultimately, there has to be a balance struck. I need to be having fun, or else it's not going to be fun. So so I'll leave things up to you in terms of did I go out to a bar earlier tonight and have a little bit of vino, a little bit of red wine. It's up to you guys. Yeah, it's cool to be back though. It's wild. But yeah, so anyway, I hope I'm not getting congested here. I hope it's just the a little lung treat I had earlier. Uh, so I start to lose some motivation for this channel. It's not as exciting as it was back in January when I get the surprise that we've been restored. Uh, Not quite as exciting anymore. It's not a new toy. And then I see all over my Twitter feed these engagement farmers talking about me. Whatever happened to him? In the most bullshit terms imaginable, saying I'm penniless and, he believed that elites were human traffickers and just like a bunch of weird shit. People creating these long threads about me on Twitter. I got to the point where I was like, hey, enough. I'm going to use my platform to show that I'm totally here, that I'm I'm present. I'm putting out content. What more do you guys want? I don't control the algorithms and stuff. I don't control why these videos don't do as well as a Mr. Beast video of him eating a cheeseburger or something while skydiving. I don't know why these videos don't do as well as that stuff, but I'm perfectly satisfied with the download numbers of the podcast. The company is going to try to grow that. It's going to be one of our big focuses this year. Just growing the audio downloads. I think it's a totally different demographic for people who need visuals. I think they're two different audiences, basically. What's the word on aliens? You remember how Trump said he was going to tell us what those orbs in New Jersey were? He knew what they were and he was going to tell us. He never did. He dropped the ball on that one, didn't he? Hopefully he'll come back to it. But one thing he didn't drop the ball on is the Middle East. This tour is incredible. This tour that he just finished up. I don't know if you guys have seen the footage on TikTok and here on the tube. Him, getting to know the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who is like the kind of like the Chi of the Middle East. Becoming friends with him, and you can see the age difference. You see the age difference that they respect each other, right? Trump respects the young prince who has tremendous power. And the prince seems to look up to Trump, this American president who's suddenly doing right by his region of the world. And just an incredible speech that Trump gave. But to actually be there, to have Air Force One just cruise into these different countries, and then to get these incredible welcomes, like something out of Star Wars almost, right? With the sword dances and the ancient hair waving and all this stuff. Very cool. Very cool that Trump has elicited this response from the Middle East. And it's also, Trump is not subtle. He does this thing where he tells you what his plan is right after he does something, like he's a character in The Office or something. This kind of aside, he does these public asides, right, where he tells you what's going on. And he admitted that now China is shut out of the Middle East, that they want to work with the U.S., not with China. So it's like he saw that China was starting to move in big time to Africa and into the Middle East to increase their influence in both areas. And we can't really go into Africa and be welcomed everywhere. The Middle East, Trump pulled it off. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Hey, what's up, Syracuse, New York? What's up, upstate New York? Yeah, the word on aliens, hopefully we get more information because certainly there is something to that orb thing. I had friends who live in New Jersey who were all freaked out. It was like the beginning of a bad movie, right? And then it just stopped. For whatever reason, people stopped seeing them. The media stopped covering it. And it seems the issue, whatever it was, seems the issue went away. There's this big TikToker that I know, an acquaintance of mine. I actually interviewed her back on the show in January. If you want to check it out, and she chugs beer and stuff at like a crazy speed, and she's massively famous on TikTok. So I'm not trying to emulate her. It's just Saturday night. But yeah, you guys check out all the interviews I've done this year on the podcast tab after we finish this one up. But I realized that if I'm gonna be all stiff and diplomatic here, then it's not gonna be fun. And why would people watch? Why would people hang out? So we're gonna chill tonight, and certainly adding aliens to our topic list is not not clickbait. I actually want to talk about this. A couple of years ago, there was all the Congress stuff, right? The whistleblowers before Congress, how the government was covering up recovery programs, and all these downed UFOs are being supposedly pulled back in to hangars somewhere to be analyzed by the deep state and reverse engineered. So all this mind blowing stuff was coming out, a bunch of weird claims, and then it seemingly went nowhere. Right, a couple years later, it seemingly went nowhere. And some of these UFO whisperers who became national celebrities, some of these people strike me as a few cards short of the proverbial full deck. if not outright grifters. Some of them just seem to be a little bit one track minded, right? They're looking for the little green guys a little too much. uh, but yeah, so that was a weird thing. I'd love to see some follow up on that. And was the whole thing a psyop? Why that moment in time? And then what happened? If there's such an urgency, like people aren't seeing UFOs at any greater frequency than before, you know? Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. New Jersey was where War of the Worlds took place, the book and movie War of the Worlds. That's if true, that's fascinating. I'll take your word for it. I won't fact check you. I'll trust you. Why would I not trust somebody in the troll box? I'm going to give you my complete trust. Please comment a bit on Comey if you'd like. I think we all know what Comey was doing, and now he's such a spineless creature. So first of all, what he did is unacceptable to post that. You don't do that, right? But then it just be like, oh, I just found some seashells, little old me. I didn't know. Like what? Wasn't he literally the guy who went after threats like that when he was FBI director? And now he's like, little old me, I just found some seashells. This is just what the hermit crabs think. They put these shells here, not me. They lined these shells up. Dude is off his rocker. What am I sipping on? More of a chug. It's a local IPA. Yeah, in a way, I have these engagement farmers to thank because I just got sick of seeing these, discussions of me in the third person that are completely wrong, just 100% not correct, and acting like I haven't been on the internet for the last 8 years. It's like, no, that's not true. I was posting elsewhere throughout the whole hiatus here on YouTube. I was posting elsewhere, and there's a good track record of that. You guys can go through the archives. Link in description to Substack. Go through the archives. 3 years of my posts and thoughts. It's a combination blog and email newsletter. Hey, thank you, Graham. Cheers. Possibly used as a trial balloon to see how the public would react to future staged events. I could see that being a possibility, right? That the orbs were just the test to see how the public would respond to unknown craft, unknown stuff popping up. Hey, what's up, Manny? Welcome. Graham says he used to watch back in the day, like 2016-ish. I think 2016 and early 2017 was really my heyday. That was my peak here on the tube. It was probably mid 2017. I was a rock star back then. I was a total rock star. And again, people who criticize me now, it's like I think the video numbers look great actually for a resurrected channel. Resurrected channel, and apparently the only thing left to me on the internet are again these engagement farming threads. Where did he go? Almost 40 now. It's like you don't have to do that. You don't have to do this shitty tone. Yeah, for exposing the creeps, I was removed for many years, but the world moves on. So don't expose creepy people, and you can maintain your fame. Lesson learned, I suppose. What is everybody else sipping on? Since you guys had asked me, what's everybody else getting into tonight? Oh, but what I was going to say is I lost my little train of thought there. That's what happens when you chug an IPA in like 20 seconds flat, right? So this woman, Peyton, who was recently here for the podcast interview, you guys should all listen to it. It was yesterday's guest interview. So she asked me after the show because we got food nearby. We got celebration drinks and some food. It's got good numbers from that podcast, and she was like, "So how famous were you when your YouTube was at its peak way back when?" And I was telling her about how I was in Estes Park in Colorado. It's a really remote cabin. They're like these like motel cabins, kind of. So there's like maybe five or six of them in a row, right? And you just drive up, and it's very low key motel, but log cabin style, right? So made out of wood and stuff, and a great view of the wildlife through these big glass windows. But point is, like very remote. Estes Park, Colorado, maybe 1,000 people total live in the whole area, the whole town, you know? So I'm there and I'm checking in. I parked my car right in front of my room, checking in, like opening the door. And the lady next to me, she's got the unit right next to me. She recognizes me right away and she's some teacher who's there with her family on vacation. I mean, that's how crazy it was back in the day. It's like I couldn't escape. It was cool. It was very cool. I don't know if it'll come back. I don't know if I want it or need it. It was an interesting experience. Okay, we got people drinking Modelo. I think that's currently the most popular beer in the US, right? Which makes sense. It's a good beer. It's like the ultimate hybrid beer, right? It's like kind of Mexican tasting, but also it's not too dark. It's not too pilsnery. It's like again the perfect middle ground. I like Modelo's. My favorite is probably like a Heineken or something, but Modelo is certainly up there. Someone drinking a Liquid Death Slaughterberry tea. Okay. What does that have as the active mechanism? Vodka, Liquid Death Slaughterberry tea. Sounds interesting. Sounds like a party over there. Talk about creepy Palm Springs explosion. I haven't heard about that. I'll have to do a Google News search. Did that just happen? In Palm Springs, California. Okay. Yes, Sapporo is a great beer also. I like Sapporo. I like, what is it called? Tsingtao, the Chinese beer. Sapporo is definitely good. Let's get those numbers up. Aren't there random forums? Aren't some of you guys forum jockeys? Post this live link. Post this live link on some of the forums, or at least on social media. Like post it on X. If you want to tag me, I'll retweet it so more people see it. Uh, yeah, it is astonishing how much they were able to shut people down. Definitely, they're able to shut down the sharing of information way back then. But I think people have figured everything out. I don't feel like there's anything that's like you know bursting to come out. I feel like everything has come out, and it seems like the UFO stuff. It's a lack of sightings. It's a lack of evidence at this point. That's the issue, right? It's like the stuff a couple of years ago ultimately was underwhelming. So here we go. I just found the live stream link, so I'm gonna tweet it out right now. And we'll get some more people over here. But yeah, Trump's Middle East tour, again, I thought that was masterful. Thought it was a total spontaneous masterpiece, and really might change the timeline, might change the sequence of events. If the Middle East is going to be, tight with the U.S., that changes the game. And they have so much money; they'll give us the oil for free if they really like us, pretty much. It's like we don't want to apply economic pressure on the Middle East. And so Trump did the right thing, I think, by going over there and spending time with them because to only deal in economic terms, they wanted to be respected. They wanted some respect also. And at some weird level, I understand that because that's what I want, right? That's why I saw those weird threads on Twitter. Where did he go today at almost 40, completely discredited? It's like, no, back the fuck up. Let's actually look at what has been accomplished. Someone says the cream of the crop of UFO sightings are intriguing, though. I agree. Some of the absolute best case stuff, like the Tic Tac videos and whatnot. There's something fascinating there. Something fascinating that the Phoenix sighting in I think '97 or 1998. It was seen by so many people. Right, it was a mass sighting over the city of Phoenix. Something like 100,000 people or something claimed that they saw something. When you get numbers like that, you can't completely dismiss that there's weird stuff out there. You know, or there could be weird stuff. Someone says research Gnostic Christianity. I don't think we're going to talk metaphysics tonight or obscure, esoteric, or occult things because I've talked about this stuff in the past, I think, from a fascinating point of view. And I think the brethren out there would appreciate my viewpoints. And yet, I always get slammed whenever I talk about like the Illuminati or Masons or Gnostic Christianity or the Knights Templar. And it's a little unfair because it's like every other weirdo on the internet is allowed to talk about these things. Every other podcaster is allowed to talk about Order of the Eastern Star and all these movements, these secret societies. For some reason, I can't. People are holding me to a higher standard. I don't know who these people are or why they think that I can't talk about weird stuff, but hey, thank you, Fancy. Yeah, that'll get the numbers up for sure. Thank you, Phil. Yeah, whenever there are UFOs around military bases, that's always interesting, right? Interesting statistical overlap there. So the experimental aircraft or the UFOs checking up on our human military capability, right? They're both kind of disturbing possibilities. Yeah, I've put out the tweet, so not much else I can do. I guess I could promote it. Let's do that. We'll pump some money into it. So right now, X approves your ads in like seconds or minutes. He's probably got it hooked up to an AI. It's just looking to make sure you're not posting something offensive and then it green lights it because look, this one's already approved. All right, so we'll be seeing people over here soon because bored people on X are going to come on over. I think. Let's make sure. But yeah, in a way, I have these weird engagement farmers to thank again for creating some made up history of the last decade of my life. I decided, no, you don't get to make up my life when I'm still here. You know, I'm going to talk so much over the next month that these people are going to be genuinely sick of me. From threads of where did he go to we're sick of this guy. Please take away his YouTube channel. Right. That's what it's going to be. Hey there. Hello, David. Hope you're doing well. Trump is doing well. So excited for what's to come. Yeah, he's doing well in many areas. The Bitcoin reserve thing is huge. People who don't understand what that is, the Bitcoin reserve executive order made it so the US government, whenever they seize Bitcoin now in a criminal investigation or any kind of diplomatic, tit for tat, whenever they grab crypto, they're going to hold it now as a national security asset, as a part of the national, abundance. It's going to be kept indefinitely. Whereas before, they would auction it off at regular intervals, seemingly at the worst possible moments. Whenever Bit would rip, the government would then announce a massive auction, which would usually drive the price down. Now that's no longer it's no longer an issue thanks to this Bitcoin Reserve Act, or this Bitcoin Reserve Executive Order. I mean, this EO that has the US government now by default storing and saving all the Bitcoin that it brings in. So, absolutely big difference because it's one less pressure, one less sell side pressure. Hey, what's up, Vibro? Yeah, don't stay up for this. This is not an important company update. It's more to test and see what kind of numbers we can get. But this is not a great one. This is not an evening of great ideas. The last two I'm pretty happy with. If you want to listen to those, they're already up. This one is just hanging out in self promotion. Yeah, glad to see you're still a supporter. Definitely. Phil says we have no proof the government still has the Bitcoin. Vibro says every stream with you is great, in my opinion. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, you've been around for a long time. Remember my D Live streams? That was an interesting platform. It could have gotten bigger. I guess Rumble is the one that took off more than D Live did. All right. So hopefully we're not capped at this number of people. We'll hang out for a bit. I'm not going to archive this one. So it'll just be a spontaneous test. Demento talk. Who, me? I'm not Demento. That guy from yesterday on Twitter mentioned me and you in a toxic post insulting. I blocked him too today. Yeah, that guy's an absolute weirdo. He doesn't matter. That's the thing, is people like that need to be told over and over again. You actually don't matter. I have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and this person constantly bothering me and trying to guilt me and shame me because he thinks I should cover what I covered even more. Like, how could I cover the same story more? Why doesn't this guy create his own channel? If that's his passion, is talking about this, go do your own thing. Like, how dare somebody 9 years after a story I covered is harassing me on social media? Why don't you cover it more? I blocked that guy. He's a clown, just so you know. Don't feel a need to interact with him. He's an absolute clown. I know who you're talking about. But yeah, people like that just need to be told over and over again, you truly don't matter. Get a job, find a girlfriend, contribute to society, pay your taxes, and fuck off. You truly don't matter. That's what people like that need to be told, because they're egotists, right? They're egotistical predators, is what they are. It's a form of narcissism to think that some journalist who has 130,000 subscribers, that I really care what some guy with some fake spiritual name, what he thinks about me, or he thinks I didn't go far enough with my career. Fuck that dude. And you picked up on his weird energy, that he's actually not a fan. He's actually not a friend, right? The guy's a creep. And he always tags famous people I don't know or don't care about and tries to get me into drama with them. He is a loser. And if you're watching, sir, you need to work on yourself big time. You are not spiritual. You know, a bag of dog shit has more spiritual energy. Why does your YouTube say one person is watching? Yeah, I'm seeing bigger numbers than that on my end. Definitely some people are here, which is good. Oh yeah, no, I'm still very much around. Am I just too old to take off again as a streamer? Have I missed this format? Because I think I might have. I think it's just not my format anymore. I could do this on a couch like the old ones in Denver years ago. Someone says they remember me smashing a piece of gold on my live stream. You always have breaking news. Thank you. I appreciate that. When there's big stuff, I try not to be lazy. I try to come out with something right away and often do beat way bigger people and bigger brands because they're too slow, especially if something happens like after 10 p.m. I don't sleep much anyways, so it's very easy for me to get in front of the microphone and upload something. Whereas the news networks, they don't jump on something past 10 p.m. really until the next morning, unless it's like absolutely insanely big. And even then, they have reduced editorial and news writing staff at that point in time, you know, in the evening. So they can't respond as fast as we can. What about quantum computing picks? Uh, I don't identify specific companies for people. There are only really a few dedicated publicly traded quantum companies at the moment. There are only a few out there, and off and on, I've invested in most of them. I am doing the sell in May and go away diet, so I don't have any quantum chip exposure at the moment. Uh, no, uh, no vanilla exposure, anyways. I think I'm slightly short. I think I'm short on some semiconductor index stuff. But no, that's my diet: is sell in May and go away because this market is too squirrely for me. I believe in bit. I believe in precious metals. Do I believe in this stock market when Trump is doing this tariff dance? I don't. I don't believe in this stock market. I'm happy to see other people make money from it. It doesn't trouble me. I've made mine. You know, happy to see other people climb the ladder. Also, doesn't make me jealous. Uh, but no, sell and May and go away, and I put a little icing on the cake with a fat short against Tesla, with double 2x short on Tesla, and a smaller short on again semiconductor companies like uh, Nvidia and AMD and all of them. There's only so much money in the world, and consumers only have so much credit. They can only buy so much stuff, and I feel like we're brushing up against the current limits of our economy. And with the tariffs, you're just pushing that limit a little bit harder. But either way, you hit the limit. You know, that's my view, not financial advice. So I'm not a perma bear. I'm not a person who's usually bearish. I think markets in general do go up over time. I mean, just the increase in population and wealth alone and the presence of inflation means that over a long period of time, equities should do well. And that's what people like Warren Buffett have been saying for decades and have been correct about, at least so far. But I'm not, you know, I have to really have conviction to put a lot of money into something. Nothing out there appeals to me at these prices. Again, the only thing that appeals to me is betting against the market and sitting back in golden bit until things change. Uh, Bitcoin is our best future. I think it'd be great if the whole world used Bitcoin. We could just get past central banks and political influence of money. I think that'd be just amazing. Like I said on the last show, I've done well from gold, but I don't talk about gold that much because I don't think it's a step forward for civilization. I think it would move us back. I think now that we have the internet, it's like we can do things we couldn't do before. You couldn't do online video. I mean, you couldn't do live video before the internet. Not in this manner, right? You could do it if you were HBO or something, but not the average individual. The internet opens things up, so now it's like we can do peer-to-peer currency. Before we couldn't. Before we couldn't really pull it off. And they fringed gold, right, with the Nixon shock in the 70s. They really fringed gold and made it less useful in a sense. But here at the internet, it's like if we all used it, it'd be incredible. To just have money as a neutral thing like email. Nobody's worried about like, oh, can I set up an email account? Will I have enough money to set up an email account? No, you just set one up, you know. Hopefully Bit ends up being the same thing. Nice. So or Manny's enjoying California's finest. Do I think they'll arrest Comey or do I think they'll indict Comey? I don't know. I really don't. But I did see that Kash Patel has finally come through on his promise, and he shut down the Washington Hoover building of the FBI, or he's planning to do so imminently. He's announced it that they're shutting down the Hoover building in D.C. Uh, so before he became FBI director, he said on a podcast that if he were made head of the FBI, he would turn that building into a deep state museum. And then he becomes FBI director. And sure enough, months later, he's coming around on his promise. Pretty cool. What does everybody's numbers say now? It doesn't say one person anymore, right? It should show bigger numbers. And when you do a thumbs up, that'll send it out to more people. I don't live in DC anymore. I no longer live there. Hey, thank you, Pamela. Yeah, it's good to be back. But I'm wondering if this is no longer the format, because we get good numbers on the podcast, and that's only weekly. So I don't mind doing that, especially now that we're doing more interviews. It makes it interesting for me. Yeah, we do still publish on Fulcrum. That's our news brand, and we still publish over there. Yeah, Fulcrum has been publishing since 2017. Me and my business partner, Missy. Incredible, right? That 8 years have gone by this quickly. Hey, thank you, Chop and Talk, representing Idaho. I think maybe if I get another drink, maybe the numbers will skyrocket. I'm gonna go away for a second and pour something. You guys work your internet magic, get the numbers up. Then I'll show you. Actually, I won't show you anything. Somebody said I was bragging in the last live stream. I won't show you guys anything special. Be right back though. Hey, cheers. Wow, this is incredible. I'm totally self-impressed at the moment. It's a good Bloody Mary. My numbers went down. You're suggesting that my numbers went down? Well, his numbers went down. I don't know, 26, 28 now. It's not bad. Hey, thank you, Pamela. Everybody else do the same. Again, share away. Yeah, where's Trump with the truth on those orbs? On the January New Jersey orbs? Yeah, it's a Bloody Mary. It's not red wine. Decided to mix it up, you know? Decided something different for tonight. Yeah, a lot of good content has gone up recently. So if you guys want to look over the most recent uploads after I end this one tonight, and this one's not a good one, you know, like I'm not going to keep this, I'm not going to archive it, but the last two I put a lot of effort into. So definitely listen to those or watch those after this. Yeah, we never got a straight answer from Trump about the New Jersey drones. And so people call it the drones, but also people are seeing orbs. So that's why I call it the orbs, you know, because there's actually two different things at the same time. The weird drones and these orbs, these glowing things that people are doing videos of. Oh, that's cool. I'm skimming up, reading some of the earlier comments. Ken says Buffalo, New York has dispensaries all over, plus on the Indian reservations there, where it's tax free, apparently. Pretty cool. You know, New York has come a long way when it comes to all that. Definitely. They're all over Oregon. Yeah, Oregon has had dispensaries for a while. You guys have been leaders in that area alongside Colorado. Well, I think Trump's recent Middle East tour of Vibro or Vic. I think the Middle East tour is really a sign that he's not just going to bend over to those interests anymore, right? That he's going to listen to interests other than Israel. What do I think about the quantum deal with the UAE? I think it's great. I think all this stuff, I believe in all this stuff. I just think the economy right now is overheated. And I do think there's going to be an impact from tariffs. And I don't want to be playing the market every day. I'm tired of finance mind, So sell in May and go away is my personal diet, which is going to take me out of the fun for a little bit. But long term, I believe all this stuff is the answer. I think quantum computing is both inevitable and is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's what we all think we want from AI and machine learning and all this crap. It's actually quantum computing is what we're moving toward. And Google's CEO, he recently said that he thinks they're 5 years away from quantum really mainstreaming and getting to the point where it's more useful than classical computing for many, many purposes. 5 years away. That's such a different answer than it's never happening or maybe in 100 years. Right. So you have one of the most powerful people in Silicon Valley. He says we're 5 years off. So you kind of bet on that, right? That it's coming. If somebody said, in 1995, the internet will be there by 2000, they were both right if they said that, but also it's a decent runway. So well, it seems that Doge has become more of a chaos, just a chaos vector than a legitimate attempt at reducing the budget, because they're increasing the defense budget and stuff. And it's like, well, these small cuts, they don't cut it. They're not enough. And he's already backing away from some of the more controversial claims they made right out of the gate. But yeah, Doge, again, it just seems like it's injecting uncertainty and chaos. And the amount of money saved is honestly a drop in the hat compared to the increases in defense spending that's been proposed. So, CCR says playing the market is much like gambling, tiresome and rigged by algorithm. Bitcoin is safer and profitable. Yeah, no, dogs are legit. Man's best friend, legit. I'm talking about Department of Government efficiency, which hasn't brought about enough efficiency. Rare earth. I think Trump is correct to be so that because who has access to that stuff will decide. Who has access to that stuff will decide the future because all of our smartphones and stuff require rare earth minerals and magnets, rare earth magnets. Yeah, that's incredible, Reg Door. That's incredible you got in so early. Many of us have been blessed. Many of us have been absolutely blessed. Yeah, I'm super impressed. This is a really good Bloody Mary. It's like bar quality. I got this mix and I added a little bit of pepper. I don't know what I'm spending all this money at bars for. It's absolutely top notch. Yeah, that headline that CERN turned lead into gold. It was like a microscopic amount and at great cost. So we don't have to worry about people in Switzerland spinning up gold out of lead. I saw that headline, right? And as a gold investor, it shocked me for a second. I read it, absolutely tiny amount and the equivalent of something like billions of dollars in energy to achieve, or hundreds of millions of dollars in energy to achieve that. So yeah, if you want to, create gold at a cost that's 10,000 times more than it costs to mine it, right? So I don't think gold has been invalidated yet, but I don't think it's as strong as blockchain. I do think you need both ultimately. I don't think you want to rely on technology 100%, and you don't want to rely on old world, uh, you know, monkey mind stuff like shiny metals. You don't want to rely on that 100% either. So there's a balance to be struck. And ultimately, we don't know the extent to which all hardware might be backdoorable to some extent. And if crypto becomes worth another 10x from current values, I think every government in the world will be trying to exploit the backdoors that it has to grab people's crypto, right? So obviously that's the downside, is that we don't really know how secure most of our devices are. Whereas with gold and silver, it doesn't matter. It's sitting in a vault somewhere. It can't be hacked. What do you think of the huge amount of energy required to support AI and crypto? Does it matter? I think ultimately it doesn't matter that much. We got to use energy on something, got to spend energy on something, and certainly artificial intelligence, getting that better and asking it the great questions of life as well as business strategies and stuff, and getting immediate answers. There's something incredible about that. And so yeah, I think it's worth this. What else are we gonna burn up fuel for? What else are we gonna destroy the planet over? I think it's worth it. I think it's a worthwhile risk to create more energy to make that happen. And same with crypto, like more than 95%, I think, or close to 95% of all the Bitcoin has already been mined, and the remaining 5% or so gets mined over the next century. So I'm not as pro, pointing energy at mining, because I think it's kind of a hustle. I think it helps secure the network, but the coins are already out there. So I don't think we need to devote a tremendous amount of energy actually to mining crypto. And then you got Ethereum, which runs on proof of stake, so it doesn't require mining or huge energy input, and that's pretty cool in a sense. It's more like interest instead of mining for new coins. Ethereum like gives you interest basically if you lock up your ether for a certain amount of time. It's almost like a certificate of deposit program, and crypto version of course. Yeah, not using energy is ignorant. I like that. Everything is energy, right? We live next to the sun. We orbit the sun. If we're not supposed to use energy, why is this massive nuclear fusion thing the center of our solar system? You know, yeah. Don't worry, Omar. You won't be. You won't be canceled. Yeah, ether could become deflationary because of that, right? Because there's not much. The proof of stake rewards are still not that much new supply, and if a lot of apps and stuff are sipping ether, it could become very rare. Yeah, Phil, I don't think anybody has Regdor beat. I mean, he got in a bit. Sounds like before I did. He's got all of us beat. That's how life is, though. There's always somebody luckier than you are. You just have to honor that. Go for it, Pamela. Make yourself an Irish coffee. I'm gonna make a. I'm gonna take a little intermission in a second, and you guys can get your drinks and stuff. And then I'll come back and we'll keep hanging out. Because again, this one's kind of like a test. We're not gonna archive it anyways, so we can go. We go wild tonight. We cover whatever we want. And when I was in Oklahoma, I actually did see one of those glowing orb things in the sky. I don't know if it's the same as what people in New Jersey saw, but at the time I posted the video on X and on my TikTok account. I thought people would care, and nobody cared. You know, people are like, "Oh, cool." It's like this thing is clearly not a plane. It's not a helicopter. It's a glowing ball that's crossing the sky. And the response from people is just, "Oh, that's neat." You know, so maybe they're like acclimating us to this. I thought again that I had a viral hit for sure. It was a real video. It was authentic. I'm just recording this thing above me. Oh, cool, man. You know, neat, neat. Nice. Vodka, cucumber, and lime. Sounds like a very clean drink. Ken says, I think the quantum threat to crypto is devastating. The only way to store it is offline, which kind of defeats its purpose. You're not wrong. When quantum stuff gets there, then you're not wrong, right? So in 5 years or whenever, look at all you guys networking in the troll box. That's great. Similar minds. You recognize each other's obscure profile pictures. Look at this. We've built a culture. We've built a community, and that's kind of why I did the content over the last couple days. Is these engagement farmers saying, "Where did he go? What happened to him? Why is he so unsuccessful?" It's like these people are pissing on what we've built. They're pissing on our community, you know. So I don't mind hanging out and being like, "Hey, no, actually things are good. Life is good," you know. 2 years tops until quantum supremacy. That's a scary thought. But you could be right, you know, just these guys saying 5 years, they don't know. There could be a breakthrough tomorrow that narrows the gap, you know, makes it more usable. Get more and more quantum coherence, more and more qubits working together, makes it exponentially faster. There could be breakthroughs again tomorrow, next week. Uh, we don't know, you know. Yeah, the quantum threat will hit one day. And when it does, gold and silver will still be fine. Doesn't matter how smart the AI is. You can't hack a bar of gold or a silver coin as long as it's sitting in a vault somewhere with sufficient security. Then you still have something that's rare. You still have a store of value. Whereas the blockchain would be completely cooked if it can brute force private keys. You just have a cooked blockchain at that point. But again, we're not there, so I don't want to mislead people and have people panic and, you know, oh, the quantum thing. It's again at least months or years away. And when it does hit, they have some plans to make the blockchain quantum resistant. But as I've pointed out, just having plans is not good enough. You need to actually deploy it before somebody has a strong enough quantum computer, or else your deployment is useless, right? To prepare for a hurricane a week after the hurricane hits is useless, right? In much the same way, preparing for quantum dominance after it happens makes no sense. Yeah, correct. Gold and silver also have many industrial uses, which gives them some value, in my opinion. Gives them a floor to their value, right? Because there's always real use. It's not just people collecting it or investors speculating on it. It's actually being used up by industry. In the case of gold, people use it as jewelry around the world too, more than silver, right? Omar says they'll likely go to hash graphs when the quantum narrative is ready. One last question. How and when will the Ukraine war end? I think it'll end with Ukraine giving away a decent part of their country because they didn't come to the table and end things with Putin when they could have. Now they're in a weaker position. So I think Russia is going to want some parts of their country, some territories. So they're going to have less land. But I do think there will eventually be peace. I think maybe in the next month or two. CCR, thanks for joining us. Safe travels. Yeah, I've heard some commentary, some analysis that Zelensky he's actually trying to prolong the war because he knows he'll literally be killed as soon as the war ends. Right? A lot of people backing him in Europe, a lot of the NATO interests that have backed him, they know that he's like a talker. They know he's a complainer, and they don't want him complaining about where did all the money go. Remember, he was saying that Ukraine didn't get all the money that was supposedly sent to them. They don't want him to complain and call out people. He will be disposed of, is the theory that I saw in some interesting videos yesterday. So he'll be disposed of by Europeans, but if not Europe, Putin would get him after the war ends because there's a lot of hatred there. They've killed each other on both sides, right? There are a lot of dead soldiers on both sides. So there's genuine hatred at this point. And when Zelensky asked to meet face to face with Putin, the defense minister or whatever that guy is, the guy who looks like a bulldog, you know who I'm talking about, the Russian dude who looks kind of like a droopy faced bulldog. He was saying, Zelensky's stupid to request a face to face meeting at this point. In other words, like it would not even be safe for him to meet with the Russians. Someone says, I remember Anthony Patch saying every time CERN reaches into a parallel dimension to grab an exotic atom, it brings with it quantum pollution. Could it disturb our timeline? I don't know. It's kind of like Terrence Howard garbage physics right there. There's no evidence that CERN is actually polluting our timeline or anything. When they break subatomic particles apart, there just isn't any evidence that they're causing damage to the substrate of reality. And if it is a quantum simulation, which I think it is, if we're in a computer game basically, it's probably quite stable. It's probably designed in such a way so that even if 150-pound hairless monkeys decide to slam some subatomic particles together, in a basement somewhere in Switzerland, that doesn't turn the universe off. The designers of this realm probably thought that out. It's probably much more stable than that would be my guess. What is my agenda? You're a bit of a joke. Unsubscribed. It seems like you have some personality issues, whoever you are. I'm talking about things I want to talk about. Seems like you just crashed out on us, bro. Like, weren't you in the comments being happy and like asking me about UFOs and stuff? And now, what I do, what I say, should I ban you? Are you just a retard? What was that all about, right? This dude just crashed out. What is your agenda? Fuck you, dude. Yeah, it's another narcissist, another person on the internet who really doesn't matter and thinks this is all about them. And it's not about me restoring my career or me answering people on Twitter or the 130,000 of you who are already subscribed. No, it's all about him. This is just a show for him. I'm just his OnlyFans girl, basically. You've been hidden on my troll box. So you can post away, but nobody's going to see anything you write because you actually don't matter. And you need to be told that way more often. You don't matter. You're just a guy on the internet. Life is hard. It's hard for everybody. I'm not doing this show for you. I don't even know who you are. How could I be doing the show for you? I don't even know who you are. And I addressed your topic. I addressed the UFO thing early on. Ungrateful, right? As Vance says, did you say thank you even once? Yeah, Kai, pull out the violin for that dude. Exactly. Tiny little violin. That I'm not addressing everything he says in the comments. All right, I'm gonna head out. I need to eat something. I can feel my. Again, there are a handful of people, and Vibro can attest to this. He's a longtime fan. There have been a handful of people recently who just freaked out on me, and you can see it's like I'm not trying to trigger anybody. I'm just being me. Hey, thank you, Bellicose. Everybody else, thank you guys. We'll talk about Hegseth in the next one. All right, we'll save that for next time.